You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of the Impact Implosion. My name is Seth Draken, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Mike Poland.
Hello. Anyone notice how the ending of that theme before we come on sounds a little bit like the beginning of James Storm's old theme?
I'm thinking it sounds a lot like the old, I don't know. I just thought it sounded cool, that's all.
I didn't say it didn't.
I don't remember what it sounds like. Anyways, looking at the news, checking on the TNA news. Apparently they're going to go back to calling Brooke Miss Tessmacher again because they don't want two Brooks.
God forbid we have two Brooks. It's like WWE having two guys named Lance.
I know.
People will get confused. Isn't one of them blonde and one of them isn't?
Yeah, isn't one of them a Hogan and one of them isn't?
Apparently they don't give their fans that much credit.
Yeah. Wrestling never has been given fans that much credit, to be fair.
What? I'm on the air. Sorry about that.
The heck was that?
Somebody yelling to me from upstairs.
Ah, boy. So, yeah, no TNA news, basically.
Which is interesting coming out of a pay-per-view.
Yeah. Although the ratings were up from last week from 0.89 to an 0.99.
Oh, they gained an extra couple of viewers. Surprisingly, Brooke Hogan was not on that show. Or was she? Can't remember.
What? She was on I think she was on last week's show. I don't remember. Maybe backstage segment. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she was. Backstage segment. Anyway, we had a pay-per-view, didn't we?
We certainly did. And a pretty good one, although I haven't seen all of it yet.
Yeah, you just gotta go check on get the results up.
I got them right in front of me.
Alright.
We have, starting us off, Austin Aries and Samoa Joe.
Why was this the opening match? You'll figure out later. And you'll figure out later why I asked that.
Why not?
You'll figure out with our second match.
Oh.
That should have been a pre-show match.
That. But yeah, this is a fine match.
Yeah.
I mean, I wondered too why it's the opener and not later on in the card. I was kind of surprised to see that was the opening match.
Anyway, Austin Aries wins, basically says how he really wants to be the best champion.
And he might get that shot at Destination X next month, but we'll talk about that later.
Yep. We'll talk about that later. Then we had a match that should have been a pre-show match, which Hernandez versus Kid Cash.
I'm seeing the next two matches out of those, by the way.
Huh?
See, I'm seeing the next two matches out of that comment, by the way.
Oh, that should have been pre-show?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
First, we had Kid Cash and Hernandez.
This was fine. It's not
random as hell.
It's random, but it's fine. It's fine. It's better than putting Garrett Bischoff on a pay-per-view, which they did in the next match, but anyway.
That's why I wouldn't mind that being a pay-per-view match, because at least they hyped that. They didn't hype at all the fact that Hernandez was facing Kid Cash until just the day before the show.
But then again, WCW did that. WWE does that.
True.
Every wrestling company on pay-per-view has ever at least thrown on 1 or 2 matches randomly on the pay-per-view.
I know.
WCW did that with Halloween Havoc 98, where they threw on like 7 matches that were unannounced.
Oh, yeah. And let's not get started about ECW's December to Dismember.
Yes, because they only announced 3 matches to begin with.
I thought they only announced 2 matches to begin with.
We're gonna throw the rest of this, we're gonna throw everybody else on here.
Yeah, we got
FBI, Turkai, and Burt, get out there. Let's go.
Yeah.
Speaking of matches that were thrown on there, although they had built a little bit.
Devon and Garrett Bischoff win against the Robbies.
Moving on.
Yeah, that was really nothing to accomplish.
RVD versus Hardy versus Anderson, which was pretty good.
And the sad thing is, I couldn't give a fuck who won this match.
Anderson wins, but we'll talk about what happened later in the title match.
Yeah.
Crimson's Open Challenge.
Who James Storm answers and beats the crap out of Crimson.
Hey Crimson, you've been undefeated for 14 months. We're gonna have you win it. We're gonna have you lose in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Granted that somebody was coming back after being gone for a couple months, but kind of makes him look bad. But anyway.
It's James Storm.
And we'll talk more about him a little bit later as well.
Yeah.
Next up, we have... Who's next? What's next? We have the announcement of the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah. And I think
Sting.
Christian Cage showed up.
I think he was before the main event, wasn't he?
I don't know. Oh, yeah, he was. He was to announce the number 1 Impact moment, which was Kurt Angle.
Ironically. They couldn't pick something from TNA. They had to pick Angle debuting, but anyway.
Well, Angle showing up on TNA. Angle, that was actually a big coup, though, back then.
Right, yeah. Next, we have Gail Kim and Miss Tessmacher, Brooke Tessmacher.
Who will be now Miss Tessmacher.
Tessmacher.
I know. She won. Gail Kim's reign's over.
And you know what? Sierra said this on Tuesday Night AMP, and I agree. This was a fine match, actually.
Well, I'm sure these two are good. These two can wrestle.
And Brooke gets to win. Who will she face open fight night, though, I wonder?
I wonder. It's not going to be Gail, because Gail's getting the night off later on.
I love that, by the way. Anyway, what's next? Is Bully Ray and Joe Parks.
This was strange.
Joseph Park, the most awkward wrestler of all time.
Yeah. Joseph Park won thanks to Abyss, and I'll say that in quotation marks because it wasn't really Abyss.
It was Joseph Park coming out of the ring as Abyss.
No, it wasn't actually. They actually had a different person under the mask.
Abyss.
Yeah. Abyss. Yeah, it was a different person under the Abyss mask.
Next, the Hulk Hogan announcement, which was Christian.
Hey, Christian. Hey, we got that trade for Ric Flair.
Yeah, and next up we have the match of the night. The tag titles.
Ah, yes. Which I'm pissed that, I'm sorry, AJ and I know they're great wrestlers. They really just put these two guys together for no reason, and now they're tag champs? Sorry. Not buying it.
I don't know.
I thought Kazarian and Daniel should have remained the champs.
Probably would have made more sense, but
Yeah, it's Impact.
Main event?
Main event, Sting versus Bobby Roode.
And the right man won here.
Yeah, although Bobby Roode didn't win fit cleanly.
He didn't need to. The right guy won.
Yeah. Sting had him tapping out on the outside, you dumbass. Yeah, nice job, Sting. Even Taz is like, dude, you gotta tap him in the ring.
You know it's bad when Taz is. You know it's
This
bad
ain't a
when Taz.
hardcore match.
You know it's bad when Taz is reminding you of this shit.
Yeah, this ain't Falls Count Anywhere, buddy.
And then he gives in a Scorpion Death Drop off the stage to end the show. Yay, Sting is still lost.
Yeah, Bobby Roode's still champion. And now let's talk about Impact.
Impact.
Even though I will say before this, Slammiversary, I hear was a very good show. I didn't watch it. Sorry.
It was okay. I haven't seen it all either, so, you know.
I didn't watch it. I'm sorry. I'm pretty cheap on pay-per-views these days.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Anyways, let's start with the TNA Impact. The opening.
Random Ultimate X match for no reason.
Actually, the opening was a video package of James Storm.
Yeah. Yep.
And then basically the ending with James Storm being able to kick the crap out of Crimson.
What a satisfying ending that is.
Yeah. And then
now
we had a random X Division title match. An Ultimate X match. Which was announced a couple hours before the show began.
By Aries himself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in an Ultimate X match. Really? Since when?
Yeah. Now,
I don't like Ultimate X. I don't
this
like
was
Ultimate
actually
X.
a match. It really got out of hand though when Saban went on the outside and kind of tweaked his knee, so he was out.
Tweaked his nickel.
Knee. Sorry, not ankle, knee. He tweaked his knee. And so it basically became Zema Ion, Hairspray and all, and Austin Aries,
This era's Rick Martel.
Yeah. And Aries did a good job. He won the match pretty convincingly.
Which led to our next segment.
Which led to Aries saying he's been TNA here a year and boasted about his way quite a bit. Claimed he was better than everyone, which, considering he's had the longest reign of any of these champions, I kind of couldn't believe him. He's had nearly a year-long reign as champion.
And then Hogan comes out.
Yep, Hogan comes out. And I did love Aries before they said, just the man I wanted to see.
Yep. Hogan says, he put over Aries and says that he wants to give him a title shot at Destination X, but Aries has to give up the X Division title first.
Yeah, you can't have two titles. You gotta give up.
Since when?
Yeah, Gail Kim had both the Knockouts and Knockouts Act titles.
Plus, wouldn't it fit Aries' character as the greatest man that ever lived, proclaimed by himself, to have two titles?
Yeah. Kurt Angle had remember when Kurt Angle had all the titles?
Barely. I wasn't watching TNA at that point.
Kurt Angle, X Division champion, World champion, Tag champion. He had them all.
IWGP Tag Champion.
Yeah, he had them all at one point. Honestly, anyways, I guess this is a storyline that they're gonna ask Aries to sacrifice something to be the main event, and you know what? I am okay with that. I know this is kind of going backwards on that, but I think I'm okay with it. Aries gets the main event for the world title, and
the only thing I don't like here is if they were going to do this, I wish maybe they would have hadn't dropped the X Division title first.
Yeah. But give somebody else the rub for the X Division title.
Even have him drop the Joe at Slammiversary last weekend, like I thought he would.
Yeah, I thought he would too. I'd have thought he would too. But, didn't happen. He is getting, and he says he's got 1 week to give him an answer and he'll think about it.
We have Devon versus Hernandez.
Well, no, we had a backstage segment. We had Joseph Park talking to some friends, and Bully Ray comes up, and he wants to know where Abyss is.
Well, he's certainly not there.
Yeah, he promised Park he won't rest until he finds Abyss. Basically leaving. Then we had a TV title match.
And there was something strange about this match, almost like somebody was missing from it. I wonder who it was.
You know what? The Robbies weren't here. Thank God.
They will be probably.
They weren't anywhere here.
No, they were both in the gauntlet later.
No, only one of them was.
Yes. And Madison Rayne wasn't out there.
Yeah. Madison Rayne had somewhere else to go as well. And anyways, Devon beats Hernandez in a weak-looking finish.
I was actually hoping Hernandez would win this.
Yeah, I know. Hernandez just came back and just dominated Kid Cash, and then he just jobbed him here. That was kind
Especially
of...
with the report coming out on Monday that they wanted to make him look like a dominant babyface.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't last long.
I was actually expecting him to be in the Bound for Glory series, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Then we had a backstage, we have video recap with everything going on in the AJ Dixie triangle.
Yay! This angle.
And then AJ informs them that people are getting hurt, and they gotta tell what the hell's going on.
Shut up, AJ. We know.
Then Dixie's like, you got a match. We'll figure something out after your match. And we had a Bound for Glory 12-man gauntlet, which started off with
11-man
Gauntlet Battle Royal, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
The winner of this Bound for Glory series will challenge for the TNA World Title at Bound for Glory.
At Genesis. Oh, wait, Bound for Glory.
No, at Bound for Glory.
I was making a bad joke.
I know, but anyways, and before I forgot to call this episode, it's gonna be the long road to Bound for Glory 2012. That's what this episode's called.
Yeah. You know what?
Anyways,
If they book this right, with Storm eventually winning, I'm fine with him winning here, as long as he ends up winning the whole thing.
The winner of this Battle Royal will get 20 points, which is very good, considering after that you have everyone has 11 matches with each other.
They're going to do them on house shows again this year.
They're going to do them at house shows. You got to expect that. They've already said they're doing them at house shows. But everyone's going to face each other once. No tag crap. Anyways, the first two participants were AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy.
I like how, other than like Robbie E and Magnus, everyone in there had a reason to be there.
Yeah, then we had RVD.
Rob Van Dam.
Then, during the commercial, we had Magnus. And then we had Bully Ray. Nobody had been eliminated yet. Until, well, actually, the sixth guy, I don't think the sixth guy was Sting. I don't think Sting was in this.
Did I say Sting was in it?
No, so my results are saying Sting was in this, but I don't remember him being in this.
Don't think he was.
I don't think he was either. And it was 11-man gauntlet match. Thank you very much, because 12th man would be the loser of tonight's main event.
Yay.
Yeah, anyways. Now eliminations, out comes the Pope.
Random return of the Pope was still alive.
Yeah, and they finally talked about he's going to be in the new Batman movie. Finally.
In passing.
Yeah, in passing. Finally. Might want to hype that up a bit more.
It's going to be the biggest movie of the summer that we're only going to mention this one time.
Well, it's going to be one of the biggest movies of summer since the Avengers is already really. It's like third place all time, so the Avengers already might have stolen that thunder.
Yep.
But anyways, Jeff Hardy got eliminated first.
Which is a surprise.
Then Abyss showed up and eliminated Bully Ray.
So wait a minute, does Bully Ray's elimination actually count?
Yeah, it counted.
He wasn't eliminated by someone in the match, though.
I know. Move on. Then we had... Who did we have next after... Oh, Robbie E.
As if he was actually going to win.
Yeah, he's in this goddamn thing. Samoa Joe.
I want to see Samoa Joe versus Robbie E. one week just to see him make Robbie E. his bitch.
Yeah, Robbie E. was the stupid one to fight Samoa Joe and gets eliminated for it.
Whoops. Good job, Robbie E. Pat on the back.
Yeah, a bunch of people got eliminated on the side. I think Pope eliminated a few people before
He eliminated Angle, I think.
Yep. Anyways, it ended up with Joe and Storm, and Joe super kicked Samoa Joe to win the Battle Royal.
Joe kicked himself?
No, James Storm kicked Samoa Joe.
I was going to say, he's bloody flexible for a big guy.
Yeah, I know. So it was actually a pretty good match.
He's been taking tips from Melina.
Yeah, and then we had an after promo by James Storm who said,
I like this.
Thanks his family for making him realize that this is the business, and he hopes to God that Bobby Roode is still champion after the Bound for Glory series, because he wants to kick his ass.
He will be.
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
1 year build up.
Yeah, that's money. Those two. And then we had Bobby Roode backstage saying, congratulations, James Storm, you're back.
I'm not worried about James Storm. I've got to take out an asshole tonight.
Yeah, I got bigger fish to fry in an asshole.
That's a bad promo line, by the way.
I know.
Who wrote that?
I know, don't know. And we had a TNA Knockouts title match. Some people are saying
this was non-title.
Good.
This was non-title.
I hated this. This I thought was boring.
I didn't even watch it.
I watched it. I could barely pay attention to it. And in the end, Tessmacher won with a neck breaker finisher.
I'm pretty sure if Sierra listens, she's going to hate both of us.
Yeah, Sierra's already yelled at me for saying this match was boring on the chat. And I said, sorry, it's boring. Sorry, Madison was one of the worst champions. Knockout champions. I'm sorry. I agree with Full Killer on this issue.
Oh, I was far behind on where I should have been in the program, so I didn't actually watch the match.
Yeah. So, Miss Tessmacher wins.
As she should.
As she should, yeah. Then we had backstage with Brooke Hogan and Gail Kim. And she said,
what a terrible segment this was.
Fight night for the Knockouts title. And Brooke says she's thinking of 4 knockouts for the match. Kim said there's only one challenge, and that's me, and
I get a rematch.
I get a rematch clause, but
you don't know when it is, which is actually
I decide when your rematch happens.
Since when?
Yeah, I don't know. And so Brooke told her, enjoy the vacation because you won't be part of the match.
I never knew that was a stipulation. I thought the rematch could be any time the former champion wanted it to be.
I don't know. That rule's been changed all the fucking time. Let's be honest.
And we have our main event.
Yep, the world title match. And
yes.
This was interesting because this ended in a submission.
Roode wins with the Canadian crossface.
With his own crossface finisher in the middle of the ring. Although they did work this very well because they did have Anderson he did work on the shoulder several times.
Mm-hmm.
And Lee slapped it in and Anderson taps.
Yep.
I wasn't expecting Anderson to tap.
So Anderson is by way also the 12th man in the Bound for Glory series.
Yep. Which James Storm already leads with 20 points.
Storm's going to win this series, and it's going to be him versus Roode at Bound for Glory.
Yeah. Backstage, we have Dixie Carter and AJ talking privately, and we're going to clear this whole shit up next week.
No, we're not.
Well, that's what they're saying. They'll handle this next week.
Daniels and Kazarian will
Then
run-ins.
we had the main event segment, which was Sting.
Speaking of run-ins.
What?
I said, speaking of run-ins.
Yep. Sting said it was the best. Slammiversary will be one of the best nights in his life. He beat up Bobby Roode, although he lost. Didn't mention that. He said being the first inductee in the TNA Hall of Fame means a lot to him. He thanked the Jarretts, thanked Dixie, and thanked a bunch of other people. And then out of nowhere,
3 masked guys run in.
Yep, 3 masked guys, which someone said they all looked like the Black Scorpion.
Either that, or they look like, I don't know. Who are they, though?
I don't know. I guess they're setting up that, but Sting gets beat up by 3 men. And the end of the show. This was not a bad show.
Impact's been good the last 2 weeks since going live.
A fast-paced show. It really didn't drag. I mean, I very paid attention to some parts, but the show didn't really drag at all. Unlike Raw, which I've heard has dragged a lot.
I only made it through about the first hour and a half, so.
I've never made it. I still don't watch Raw at this point.
Don't blame you.
Until John Smokes a Lot is gone, I'm not going to watch that show.
Yes.
And when I say John smokes a lot, I don't mean he smokes a cigarette a day. I mean he smokes an entire carton a day.
He smokes more than the sisters on The Simpsons do.
In a minute. He's like, he grabs every cigarette in the freaking carton and lights them all up in his mouth.
He smokes more than the sisters on The Simpsons do.
I know. He tried to break the world record in smoking.
Yep.
Even though I think somewhere he did say that it was an injury. I think somewhere back in the day he did say
it was a throat injury.
Yeah, throat injury in Japan. Something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we don't have people who are injured that normally are on our TV every week.
Because we need people who can friggin' talk.
Yeah.
Not people who sound like they smoked 17 packs a day of cigarettes.
We don't have people who can't speak on our TV. I'm sorry, we don't.
Although Bret Hart was general manager a couple years ago.
Yeah, Bret Hart can still speak even after having a stroke. JR can speak after having cerebral palsy.
Bell's palsy.
Okay, Bell's palsy. I'm sorry. Wrong guy who had cerebral palsy. Actually, I don't know who had cerebral palsy, but
I don't. But you know.
I know. I was going to say Gregory Arm, but he also has Bell's palsy. My bad.
Oh, he has cerebral palsy.
I thought he had Bell's palsy.
No, cerebral. However you say it.
Okay. All right.
Cerebral palsy.
Yeah, it sucks. Well, is there anything you want to hype? Because I got one thing to hype before we go.
You know what? I will. July 12th, Pro Wrestling Maine, featuring Eddie Edwards in a ladder match, featuring Mr. USA Tony Atlas, featuring ROH superstar Mike Bennett. July 13th will be IWE's Back in Cornville, featuring the Bomb Squad versus Team Heart and Soul, featuring Jay Gillette and Shane Marvel, featuring the Tenacious 2 in a tag title rematch against the Towers of Pain. July 14th, IWE Back in Brewer, Maine for Battlefield, Battle Lines, featuring Frankie Flash defending the title against Gene Jarreau, featuring a Blast from the Past match as Jay Gillette takes on Ricky Williams, and featuring a tables match for the TV title as new TV champion Sonny Roselli defends against Jivin' Jimmy. And then August 12th, IWE and Pro Wrestling Maine present a tribute to Robbie Ellis, a Super Junior tournament featuring ROH's Eddie Edwards, former ECW quote-unquote star Chris Hamrick, along with the former NWA On Fire champion Julian Starr, Matt Taven from Ring of Honor, who else is on there? Boston Bad Boy Jason Rumble, and several others. And you know what? That's all I've got for right now. What do you got, Seth?
Well, on my Monster Crap site, I have, for the most part, written the induction for Ghoulies Go to College. There was a third Ghoulies film.
Yep.
I'm going to start a poll like this Saturday to see what my next induction, my 99th induction, and then after that will be my 100th induction, which will be a special movie I've chosen.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, this was TNA's Impact Implosion on the AngryMarks Podcast Network, and I wish all of you a very healthy good night.
And we will talk to you next week.